Hello and welcome to a kind of in-between episode of Gold Diggin. So, what I'm doing here is a tribute to the Baldur's Gate series, but what I'm actually doing is playing with Specialized cards. Now, for those of you who don't know, Specialized was a mechanic arena digital-only thing, where, for example, I will take here Jaheira, Harper's Emissary. Now, if you look at Jaheira, she has the ability to specialize. So, you pay 2, discard a card from your hand that has either a color identity or a basic land type, and you pick which one of the 5 you specialize into. Essentially, you give them a special mana pip. Now, the key thing is, when you specialize your creature, you'll usually get some kind of effect. So, for example, all of Jaheira's specializations destroy an artifact or enchantment, but what you get afterwards depends on the color. So if you specialize her into green, you gain 4 life. You put 2 1/1 counters if she goes white. Simic, you scry 2. Golgari, the creature gains the ability that if it dies, it drains for free. And Gruul, it gives you a boon. Now, a boon is another type of effect that basically just says the next creature spell you cast. Keyword, not on this turn, in general, so even if you do it next turn afterwards, even if Jaheira is destroyed, that affects. But it will give you +1 and haste. Now, all of those destroy an artifact from enchantment, which is pretty good. Now, we're a 5-color deck, as you can see, with tons of interaction and removal here. We're also running Minsc and Boo, because they're legends. How could we not, in a Baldur's Gate deck? But you see here, we got a bunch of multicolored spells, or a ton of land types, obviously, especially with our triomes. So we're going to try specialization. Now, I'm testing these out here, and I'm recording this post-game, and I will say that I'm going to rebuild this deck and work it out with basically different things, because didn't feel Jaheira that much, but there were some other ones. So let's talk about the other specialized things in this relatively long deck. That's why there's only 2 matches in this video. Viconia, she has the ability for 1 to exile a card from a graveyard, and you put it under her. Now, when you specialize her, you get to conjure a duplicate of the card, except it can be cast with any color of mana. And again, what changes is dependent on the color. So if you go just straight black, the creature gains it. If it goes back to the graveyard, you drain 2 and it gains 2 life. Viconia, if you go white, if it's a creature card with 3 or less, you can put it directly onto the battlefield. If it's blue, and this is probably the best one for Viconia, you can choose an instant sorcery and conjure a copy of that in addition to the creature. Red gives the duplicated creature in the hand perpetual +1/+0 and haste. And finally, green gives it perpetually +2/+2. So, this is clearly a stronger one in there. Same with Imoen. Imoen has the ability that she specializes for 5, but it's 3 less if there's 2 or more instants or sorceries in your graveyard. And she can't be blocked if she's attacking alone. Now, when she specializes, she gains the ability that she can't be blocked. And she will then, when you deal combat damage to a player, you may exile instant or sorcery, and depending on what specialization you went, that's the effect. So blue, tap opponent's creature, doesn't untap. White, put 1 counters on each creature you control. Black, you make a 2/2 black zombie. Red, you shock each opponent for 2 damage. And green, you draw a card and make an additional land drop. Imoen doing a very good impression of Uro. And finally, this is my favourite of the specialized skin, Kemet, Novice, Acolyte. So he has specialized 2, as you say, and when he enters the battlefield, creatures in our hand gain 1/1 perpetually. So we pump all the creatures in our hand. Kemet's a little different. He gets an ability dependent on what he specializes into. So for example, it's very cool for like a lore thing, because it's basically a cleric choosing his path. If he goes white, the boon gives the next creature we cast a lifelink counter. And he has lifelink himself. If we go blue, he becomes blue-white, gains vigilance, and we seek 3 cards at random from our library, permanent cards, and we then choose one and put them back into the graveyard. This is why I went very spell heavy, because if we specialize into blue, there's a good chance we could hit Niv, particularly if I remake the deck and make it lower. Black gives us the 2/2 zombies when he specializes. You know, 3 bodies for 2 mana, not bad. Red-white gives double strike, and if he is dealt damage, you deal that much damage to a target. So he basically becomes a pseudo stuffy doll. And finally, green gains the ability that if he dies, you make a 4/4 arc. So as you see, all the stat lines are different, and the abilities they get are different. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video, in our matches. Our goal is to specialize as many creatures as possible and rate it as a mechanic. There's only 2 matches here because this tech went a bit long, but I'm going to rebuild this deck and play with it again because I really enjoyed the Specialize once I figured out how it worked. Enjoy the gameplay. Alright, we are here with our specialization matches on Baldur's Gate 2 Tribute. Well, Baldur's Gate Tribute. Our first opponent here, Death Valley XO, is mulliganing. This is a massive deck again. I don't know why in the casual queue I randomly get matched with this. I guess the shuffler must think that we're both experimenting and trying stuff out. We don't have any specialized cards in our hand here, but we have all of our colours, so it's always worth holding on to. An early leyline binding is always good. We're going to use Fable Passage here to just fix and get the white. So with the Zagadron Triome, we have all our land types covered. Opponent plays a Wolf Willow Haven. We draw a Novice Acolyte. I'm going to exile the Willow Haven. They've got no cards in hand, so they could be struggling for mana, which will make it easier. They scry a card on top and play a Ranger class. Right, we can get our boy specialized. So let's get our first specialization and hit our targets here. Kimmit, the Novice Apprentice. We'll go for the Death Acolyte here. I decided to get rid of the Drowned Lock. I want the land to play Minsk and Boo, and 3 bodies on the battlefield is always pretty good. They play a Gift of Paradise. This seems to be all their green cards, which is strange, but you know, it is what it is. I'm going to use this leyline binding, but we're going to get rid of the Rangers class because eventually it will let them look on top of their library. We'll just attack in here, see if they want to trade. They don't, so they let that resolve. They make 6 mana here and they play a Shintai and a Ferocious Pup. So now they have more bodies than us, which is interesting. Well, we have Minsk and Boo, so let's use him. Get Boo on the field. Let's pump Boo up. We're going to hold back here, because we want to use Boo to draw cards. Ooh, Sanctum of the Fangs. So, they're going to pump their creature here. So, we attack with Boo. They don't block, which is bad for them. So Minsk and Boo sacrifice Boo. We'll attack the Ghost Shintai Vapor and draw 4 cards. We can play on Mizzet and reload our hand. Fortunately, none of the specialized cards are double color, so we're not going to grab any with Niv. But all these cards now mean that if we draw another specialized card, we can at least choose a different option or a relatively good option. We make another Boo. Use Expressive Iteration here. Put Anger's Rampage into hand, put Niv to the bottom, put the land into exile, play land. Vanishing Verse, the other Sanctum, and they'll just concede to that because they got no cards in hand and no other options. We'll just run it back. It's a fairly fun. It appears this is just genuinely an experimental fun deck. I keep meaning to check, is Battle of Wits in this format or something? Because the amount of like 200 card decks I always see. Or it might just be someone trying to crash Arena with too many cards. Again, we got no specialized creatures, but we did specialize. Well, we do have now, because Jaheira just showed up. So we'll get Jaheira onto the battlefield. She can take out an artifact or enchantment, which seems to be pretty good against a deck that seems to be mostly enchantments. But of course, this time they don't play it, so let's play a card tapped, and we can hold up our interaction here. We have an Assassin's Trophy or anything truly scary. They appear to be ramping a lot. They play Wilderness Reclamation, which is actually perfect for us now because now we can use Jaheira. So let's use the Leyline Binding, get rid of their mana dork. Play another land. We will specialize Jaheira. And after some consideration, I think setting up our scries is the best here. So let's get rid of Drown in the Loch again. Blow up their enchantment. Scry 2. A Viconia off the top is perfect. This is actually really good. We actually have technically already achieved our goals of specializing and winning a match. We'll see what else we do. Ferocious Pup comes down, makes a wolf. So let's play Kemet. We pump our team. We can either play Viconia or Specialized, but I think Specializing is more fun here. Looking at what's in our hand, we've already used the Black Acolyte here, but still the best option because they have more bodies than us. So we have cards here. We'll attack with Jaheira. She's done her transformation, so she can't do anything else. So if they want to trade here, it'll be good. We lose a Kemet. Right, so fun interaction here. Play Viconia. What Viconia can do is she can exile a card from the graveyard. So we'll exile Kemet. Because when Viconia specializes, we can conjure a copy of that card. The thing I didn't realize, as you'll see here, I'm going to Viconia her into the white one. Because, well, white one, yeah, because it will let us play it. So, we conjure the card, but I'm not sure if this is correct, but it conjures the original Acolyte. But we're totally okay with that. We'll swing in here of our team. They search for a land. Yeah, so transform specialized cards hold their transformation dependent on what zone they change. So if you bounce them to the hand, they don't lose it. If they go to the graveyard, they don't. If they get exiled, they stay the same. But for some reason, I'm not sure if it's a bug or if it's actually meant to happen, Conjure makes the card as inactivated. They play Vivian and pump their werewolf up. It's time, I think, to transform a Kemet here. We're going to use the blue here to make the Knowledge Acolyte. Finds us in the Mizzet for next turn. We can Assassin's Trophy here. We'll take out the 5/5 because there's nothing too scary, but they ultimately just concede to that. So I'm counting that as objective achieved. Next match here we have Shivini. We have an Acolyte on 2, a Kemet, sorry. Speaker of the Heavens, this is a life gain strategy, so let's get Kemet down. Opponent plays black, so it's a blue-black life, white-black Orzhov life gain strategy. We'll play our land tapped. We can specialize now. After some consideration, I decide that we're going to go for red here because we can discard the Lightning Helix, and we get to use the Tempest Acolyte. So we get double strike for 4 damage, which makes it harder for them to block. And if they do damage to him, he can throw that damage back at their face. They play a Starhelm Aspirant to lower the cost of their angels. We do have a board wipe here, but I'm just going to swing in here. See if they want to do anything. They do block with Speaker of the Heavens, but first strike damage happens first. I try to cast a Helix because I don't know my own colours. So we could get punished very severely here if they have an angel. No, they just go for a Grim Tutor, so we'll cycle Jetmir's Garden in response. Find another land. We didn't get punished for not killing out the Acolyte here, but the Aspirant, sorry, but we really do need to deal with it. Right, they take their card and swing in for 2, knocking us down to 17. We find a Viconia here, and this is beyond perfect. So, first things first, let's Lightning Helix the Aspirant in case they ramped for like a 6-drop or 7-drop angel. We can play Viconia. Now attack in for double strike, put him down to 10. 5 mana on the board. Now you might ask why I said Viconia is perfect here. They play Victory's Envoy. So Viconia can exile both the Grim Tutor and one of their creatures, and we can use the Supreme Verdict here to specialize Viconia into her blue-black specialization that gives us a copy of both a creature and a spell. So just for sake of things here, let's take the... Well, we're going to attack first, see if we can get any value off commit. Nope. So with that down, let's use Lightning Helix there. Now we can use Viconia's ability to exile the Victory's Envoy. Then we'll specialize Viconia. Well, we won't yet, apparently. But our plan is to go into the Disciple of... what color is it? I think I was being very hesitant to use Viconia's transformation here because I wanted to hold up a potential board wipe for a big angel. But after this they try to reanimate a creature, so I'll use Viconia to exile one. And then I'll just get rid of that other creature for the sake of it, just to keep their graveyard clear. With that fully done now, we can play the land. And we're going to... I consider using Yorion as a specialization throwaway here. Thanks to the specialization we get a creature, so we take the Victory's Envoy, and we take the Grim Tutor here. So we can cast Grim Tutor. Finds us whatever we need here, so I'm looking through what we might want. I'm going to take a Vanishing Verse, potentially. Yeah, this gets us through for lethal here, so Vanishing Verse there, Phyrexian, and then attack for lethal. So again, we triggered another successful match here with specializations. There's only the 2 matches here because I'm working on the deck. I've been playing a few of the other cards, specializing them and having fun. But I want to see what really feels the best here. Right, we have Minsc and Boo and a ton of removal that we can cast that will deal with most of their threats. So 2 mana, they don't play anything, so we'll play another Triome here. They get 3 mana and play a Righteous Valkyrie, so we will immediately use Tyrant Scorn here, kill that. I'm using Tyrant Scorn because Angus Page cleanly answers like a 4 or 5 drop here if they play it. As they see, they play the Cosmo Elixir, so we'll play a land tapped, and we'll use the Rampage's artifact ability, if I select it properly, to make them sack that Cosmo Elixir before it starts drawing them cards. They have 5 mana in hand, 5 mana on the field. Glisa, the Broken Blade. I could cast Minsc here, but ultimately it's not going to do anything, so what I want to see is if they do anything major. They go for the Book of Exalted Deeds, move to combat, hit us for 4. They're going to make an angel here, so this is a bit awkward for me because it means that I screwed up. Should have killed Gliss before we got hit. But since we know they're in the end step now, they won't cast anything else, so let's Tyrant Scorn the Angel token, play our land, and let's get Minsc and Boo on the board. Alright, Minsc, make Boo big again. I had so many fun memories playing this game back in the day. Baneslayer Angel fortunately doesn't have protection, so we'll use the Vanishing Verse immediately on that. And then we have enough mana here to specialize Imoen. So we'll attack in with Minsc and Boo, then we'll sack Boo, draw 4 cards. We get plenty of land drops here, so we'll use a land, and then we'll specialize into the Wise Trickster. We'll chuck away a Triome. So this basically turns Imoen into a budget Uro. So you'll see here, we pump up our creatures, attack in. When Imoen deals combat damage, we exile instant sorcery from our graveyard, and then we can draw a card and play an additional land. I was just checking that it's not like a Uro thing, we have to do it in response to that immediately. It's actually kind of better. We don't gain the life, but it is really solid. Opponent plays a land and passes back to us, and ultimately concedes, so specialization's on work. Still a work in progress, but we'll have fun. See you later.